Yes, hot topic for content creators. This is where I pitch a hot topic to you guys, and then you guys, in turn, if you feel so inclined or inspired to, you upload a video, you create a video, and you upload it on your YouTube channel. And then if you tag me in your video or share the link to the video, then I feature your video on a future live stream and respond to what you have to say live on the air. Or else you are welcome to revisit any of the past topics and share your thoughts and opinions in the comments section. Kind of like an ode to old school YouTube, and decide how you would like to approach the topic. If there's anything, any subjects pertaining to the topic that you would like to cover specifically. And then it gives you enough time to kind of like lay out your talking points in a comprehensive and cohesive type of manner, and give you the space, the breathing time, if you will, to kind of get all your thoughts out. And then I can in turn respond to what it is that you have to say. And tonight, we revisit an ongoing topic, and that is trad pub, traditional publishing, obsolete? That is the question that I posed to you guys in one of the ongoing hot topic threads. And we have tonight a comment from an award-winning self-published author. That's right. This is Ian Kirkpatrick from her channel, Kirk Patty Cake. That's her moniker on YouTube. All right. When it comes to the money aspect of trad pub, I don't know how many think they're going to get rich from their first book, and I'm sure there are many, versus those who want the publisher to do all the logistical stuff, like distribution, ESP to libraries and bookstores. Not 100% sure what you mean by that. Basically just getting your books into libraries and bookstores, but the ESP, is that like getting your books in there through telekinesis? I am sending my books now. Don't rush me, people. I'm only working with so much RAM here. And to cover the cost for editors and cover artists, which sure, I could see the point that you're making there. If you want like quality editing services, I mean, you could get editing services. I'm sure you could get editing services if you were to dig. If you were to do your research and dig, I'm sure you could probably find an editor who's hungry, and you could probably get some quality editing work done fairly inexpensively. Cover artist may be a little bit more on the pricier side. However, there's always Fiverr, and you'd be surprised at some of the quality of work that you can get out of Fiverr. I did cover an artist who has services on Fiverr just the other week, and the book covers weren't bad. I have to say, they weren't bad. Some of them were better than others, but for the price, and it was, if I remember correctly, it was like around $150 or something like that. For the price, not bad. It didn't seem bad. She goes on to say, I know plenty of people who chose a vanity press style thing because they were fine with indie/self-pubbing, but didn't want to have to deal with ISBN, covers, editing, etc. And many indies don't have the money to front the cost or the options available for printing, such as gold pages, like gilded pages, as traditional publishers will offer. Yeah, I know that there's a lot of people who will like shit on the idea of using a vanity press. So basically, vanity press is like, it's more of like an independent publishing service more than it is an actual publishing house. So what I mean by that is like it comes in all different forms. So those are the ones that like you as the author, you would pay them to publish your book. But it's the services that they offer. So vanity press, like there are scams out there where like they say a vanity press scam is like you're going to pay a bunch of money up front. So say it's like anywhere, it could be like upwards to like $1,000, whatever it may cost. And in principle, what it's supposed to do is that's supposed to cover the cost of what it's going to cost them to do these, to provide you with these types of services and handle all these things that Ian is saying that, some authors may not have, who want to take the self-publishing route, don't have the time to handle themselves. So for instance, dealing with ISBNs, getting your covers done up, doing the editing work on your book or on your manuscript. These are all services that a vanity press may offer you. And then as well as like custom printing as well, like say with the gold pages, special hardback editions, things of that nature. And those are all things that come at the cost of the company itself, which is why they would have you kind of, all the deals are different. It's a case-by-case basis as far as that goes. It's kind of the Wild West as far as that goes, which is why you really have to pay attention to the types of contracts and agreements that you're signing to if you decide to go with like a small press company or an indie label, and understand what you're getting yourself into. And I've mentioned that before. So it's not just trad publishing. You want to pay attention to the contracts and be able to negotiate. And always remember, if there's a contract involved, there's always room for negotiation. Everything is negotiable. Always go from the mindset that everything, absolutely everything, is on the table for negotiation. Nothing is set in stone until you sign upon the dotted line. So just keep that in mind. All right, she goes on to say here, I think as TradPub focuses more on these quote unquote sure things and rushing out garbage because of a loud fan base on social media, a little bit of a hot take there from you, Ian, I have to say. More on that in a second. People will look for more alternatives. So yes, so fan base. Oh man, here we go. So this is in regard to how much of a following you have on social media. I told you social media is kind of a double-edged sword. It's a blessing. It's kind of a blessing and a curse at the same time, depending on how you use it and how it is in turn used against you. So, oh man, we could go off on a whole other tangent as far as that goes, how it is used against you. But that's probably a topic for a whole nother for another time. But in terms of publishing, so more and more the word is getting through the grapevine is that traditional publishers are looking at people's social media followings and taking that into account as to whether or not they want to take on their project and sign them on. I think that there's a little bit of controversy wrapped up in that because I don't know how many of you are aware of this, but people can just buy followers if they want to. So social media following is not really a good indicator of popularity. It really isn't a good, an accurate metric for popularity, which is why you'll always hear me saying, or quite often hear me saying, like, I really couldn't care less about the numbers. It's not the numbers that I care about. Like, yeah, like if the channel gets subscribers, then apparently that helps this thing called the algorithm. If I have more subscribers on the channel. But personally, I couldn't care less about the amount of subscribers that I have, which is why you'll never hear me saying, doing the whole like, hey, hit like and subscribe and all this. Like, yeah, if you do, you do. If you don't, you don't. It's no skin off my back. But what I care about first and foremost is engagement. Because I'll tell you this right now, even from a business standpoint, like, which it ties into this topic. Like, if you have, say you only have like, 100 followers, right? Or 100 subscribers on YouTube. But if you have 50 out of those 100 subscribers tuning into your live streams on a regular basis, that trumps someone who may have, a couple thousand, 5,000, 10,000 subscribers, that may have like a fraction of that. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know. I look at it as like engagement. Like, I'd rather give me 100 to 200 people that are proactive in the scene. Proactive, meaning they're tuning in daily, they're logging in daily online, and they're not just sitting on their hands. They're working that keyboard. They're getting engaged in the scene. They have their own blogs. They have their own websites. They're reading books. They're not just they're actually reading books, reviewing books. They may be writers themselves, and it's not just always shameless self-promotion as much as they're actually getting engaged in interacting with their peers within the community. And this is the type of stuff that I'm about. That's what I would really like to see more of. And I think that is where we're heading in the future, as the stigma behind being self-pubbed and being indie kind of goes the way of the dinosaur. And people, it's going to take that, I'm not going to say, like, you want to be genuine with it. Like, you don't just want to feel like you're blowing smoke up people's asses either. You want to be genuine with it. But at the same time, as more people, it's just a matter of, like, I feel like it's like if you see other people doing something that you've thought about doing yourself, it kind of builds up that confidence. It encourages people to kind of come out of their shell a little bit and start getting involved in the community. And that's where I like to see it. That's what gets me hyped. And you guys know me, I'm always on the lookout for more people who are getting involved in, say, the booktube, authortube realm of YouTube. I think the biggest issues indie has right now are the massive spectrum of quality, since there's no quality control. And then just people knowing they exist. Publishers have the money to put your books in library catalogs and trade shows. Generally, individuals do not. Yeah. And personally, like, just as like an aside, as my own personal take on that, like, I don't really care to have my work in libraries, to be honest with you. Like, I'd rather just like if people want to find my work, they know where to find my work. I personally want the engagement. I want the traffic. So screw going to the library, go to my website, go to my Amazon. If you want my premium, if you want some free stuff, you can go to my website. If you want my premium stuff, you can hit my Amazon. And that's where you can find my work. And like I've said before, I don't write for money, but I value my work. There's a difference. I want to make sure, because I was like, when I was going through and clipping out the hot topic for this previous upload, I remember saying something about that, and I was like, I should have been a little bit more specific there. Don't get it twisted. I value my work. So when I do premium work, I value my work. So there's a price tag attached to that work. And I don't do deals. I don't do freebies. People have their own principles as far as that goes. And my mindset on that has kind of changed a little bit. I am more accepting of the idea of like self-published and indie authors like doing arcs. And in fact, I might actually do something like that in the future. However, that might be a topic for discussion at a later time as well, because there are people out there that will take advantage of the idea of receiving arcs or advanced reader copies of books. So more on that on another time, perhaps. But yeah, in terms of a marketing approach, I don't see anything wrong with that, so long as it's an agreed upon thing. What I've seen is that there are people who will just blindly just send booktubers books. And I'm like, well, for one, you're not doing yourself any favors as far as that goes. And you're not doing the independent market any favors as far as that goes, in terms of my opinion, as far as that goes. But if it's agreed upon thing, sure. But anyways, just my opinions here, shouting them out. You guys are obviously free to share what's on your mind. Damn, what was I going to say? Oh, the quality control. All right. So quality control, this is the biggest point in your comment right here that I wanted to address. Kind of the elephant in the room, if you will, when it comes to indie publishing or self-pub. And that's quality control. And really, it comes down to the individual. And that, I think that's the biggest thing. That is the biggest thing that holds perhaps a lot of the consumer base or people from getting involved in the independent market, because they feel like they might feel as though they're gambling with their money when it comes to purchasing books off the independent market. And I can't really blame them to a certain degree, which is why it's going to take people like myself and other people who run channels and are proactive in the indie scene to be kind of like continue to have conversations about independent books, talking about them, doing book recommendations, doing book reviews, doing critiques and things of this nature. So it's kind of there's value to be had there in creating that kind of content. It's not, it's not nonsense at all. You're creating valuable content for the market when you get out there and you do critiques on indie works. You're talking about different labels. And also with indie labels, I say there's different ways to get involved in the independent market. So you can self-pub, which is what Ian has done. And in fact, I would go as far as to say that Ian is probably one of the most successful self-published authors that I know personally or have collaborated with before. So she is a good example of that. And also, in other words, that there are people out there that can do it. You can, in other words, what I'm saying is she is an example of an individual that proves that you can do it on your own. It is possible. The tools are out there. The resources are available out there. So it's just a matter of doing your research, finding the tools and the resources and putting them to work, and so that you can put together a quality project, a quality product, excuse me. And because remember, your name is attached to that. Now, mind you, there's a little bit of leeway. Like me personally, I provide a little bit of leeway when it comes to indie works, especially for like ebooks, because with ebooks, even with print books especially, though, you want to make sure the quality is top notch before you publish that for public purchase, because once a paperback is purchased, you can't get that paperback back. But an ebook, however, you can update an ebook. So like if errors happen, that's why I say it's like it's more of getting engaged in there. So in the market. So like if you have errors in your ebook, for instance, like whether they be small, like spelling errors or little grammatical issues or something like that, and it wasn't caught through the editing process and then it went and got published. Even your formatting, if you want to switch up, if you want to update your formatting on your ebook, trust me, I've done it multiple times of some of my short stories. You can actually update the formatting on your ebooks at any time. So yeah, so there's that. So quality control, yes, definitely with paperbacks are less forgiving than if you are to self-pub or independently publish ebooks. So thank you, Ian, for offering your 2 cents on that topic. And let's see what's going on. Let's see what you guys got going on in the chat here. Oh, what's Barry saying here? KDP pays authors peanuts, he says. A friend of mine has published 2 books self-pubbed. Really? Well, the thing is, you can set your price, though. That's the thing. So you can set the price of your books on KDP. And you're talking in terms of royalties. The royalties are laid out. It is pretty clear. Like when you set the price of your book, when you publish on KDP, the royalties are made clear to you before you hit publish. So you know exactly what you're going to make on each individual purchase. Barry says, part of being an author requires faith in one's work, definitely. But when you see, like I say, when you see other people doing, I feel like it's community-based in the sense, when you write, it is a very personal thing. You could write your book. You could hire a ghostwriter if you wanted to. And then at that point, it's a team activity. You could do a collaborative work. So in other words, you could work on an anthology. You could have a piece that's included in an anthology that has multiple authors. So all you really have to worry about is your one piece of flash fiction that may be featured in that work. Or you could do like a co-authored novel. So like you and another author go in and write a novel. I've seen people do it that way as well. But for the most part, yeah, writing is a solo activity. But what I was saying, as far as the indie scene being a community-based thing, is that it's like it's encouraging to see other people. Like you're not waiting. In other words, you're a trailblazer. That, as far as I'm concerned, if you're involved in the indie scene, you're a trailblazer. You are a pick yourself up by your own bootstraps type of individual. You're ready to just get right down to business and get the work done and put it out there. You don't wait for anyone to give you permission. You're not waiting for anybody to provide you with a pat on the back, a validation, or validate your work, or grade your work, or say, yep, this is ready for publishing. No, you are just getting down to business and you're doing it. That's to me, that's what the indie scene is all about. It's about freedom to just get down to business and be creative, and no one telling you how you need to do it, and you need to follow these set of rules or instructions or anything like that. So long as you're within compliance of distributor guidelines, for instance, like KDP or Barnes and Noble or anything like that. All right, and that is the hot topic. This conversation continues, ladies and gentlemen. If you'd like to come at this from any other angle, I have talked about some articles in the past. If any other articles, like through the mainstream, as far as pertaining to this topic, comes through, but you can come at this topic from a variety of angles, whether you want to talk economically, from business standpoint, through the rise of the indie market angle, anything like that. You can leave your comments down below on this video or check out any of the previously pitched hot topics on my playlist.